Hey,
Hey,
hey.
how's it going, everybody?
All right, if you click this video, that means the guy you're talking to is silent on you. He's not quote unquote consistent and you're wondering what's going on. Let's talk about it. But before we talk about it,
Yes, we're Terrence and Jill, a God-Ordained union. We've been together just under 3 years. We've been married just under 3 years, and we are here simply to help increase kingdom marriages. So you're in the right place at the right time.
yes, yes. So if you're feeling like, where's my person? I'm tired of being single. What's wrong with me? We understand. We've been there. We've done that. So we're here to share our stories. Of course, they're biblically based. We don't give any type of relationship advice, and definitely no marriage advice, because we ain't been in the game long enough. Not the game. We have not been in marriage long enough to give marriage advice or marital advice. But we are here to like expose the enemy, because there's a lot of things that could be blocking you,
Yes.
that were blocking us, which is the reason why I was 48 when I came across Terrence, and 52 when I walked down the aisle. And so there were a lot of things blocking me. And so yeah, we're here to expose the enemy, and what's over your life that is preventing you from getting your person. Because God has a person for you if you desire marriage.
Yes.
God ordains marriage, and there is also an attack on especially the Black family, and so the Black family unit, and so it is definitely our mission to help reunify, and whatever part we can play. If it's just a little small part, we're doing what God called us to do. So you're on the right channel. We go
live. Yes. Every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
So please join us. Invite people to join us. And put your seatbelt on and have some fun.
Yeah, so every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also now would like to invite you to our personal space. My mom does an intercessory prayer at midnight on Friday nights called War Cry. It's called War Cry. Powerful. And it's 2 hours from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. And it's nothing but straight prayer and supplication, like prayer. So whatever it is you're praying about, like we go hard. We go, so yes, we speak in tongues and all of that. Yes, we do. We have the Holy Spirit. So if you if you don't know if you have the Holy Spirit, if you want the Holy Spirit, and that's a great join us, as well as the things that you're praying for, you believe in God. Even if you are already filled with the Holy Spirit and you just want to come together and join together with a body of believers, it's usually it's a small intimate group, but we're expanding it because we know that the times that we're living in. So yes, we invite you. That's where we hang out on Fridays at 12 a.m. because it's something about when you pray at midnight, when you pray in the middle of the morning and at midnight, something amazing happens in the spirit realm. So please join us. We'll put the links, the Zoom information below. Friday nights, every Friday night, it's called War Cry, every Friday nights, 12 midnight. All right. So, we got to talk about this thing. We want to talk about when men go silent, but let me preface this, because of course you got to answer this, because I don't know why y'all go silent. I don't know what you're going to say, but I want to just preface this is that, when I'm referring to why do men go silent, I'm talking about in the getting to know stage, and that's before engagement. So we're talking about you met somebody and y'all getting to know each other, and it could be for a year or two, for 6 months, 2 weeks, whatever. There are times that they go silent, and we also are talking about an eligible man, a man who has intention to be married.
A God-fearing man.
A God-fearing man.
We're not talking about somebody that's trying to run game and somebody that's still playing around.
No.
We're talking about somebody that really wants to move to the next step, just as you.
Yes.
And what it means when you don't hear from him because he went silent on you.
Yeah. So why? Tell us, baby.
Wow. Well, I got 8 reasons.
Oh man.
Or 8, I'm gonna say 8 possibilities. It could be any one of these. It can actually be a couple of them. It depends on where this individual is in his life. But I'm going to go through them, and prayerfully, it's going to put you in a position to be able to say, okay, I know it might be one of these areas, to kind of give you a little bit of understanding of what's going on so you don't stress out too much. Okay. So the first one is going to be, he's processing his thoughts. He's processing his emotions, which means basically meeting you. It's probably changing his life. Now he's thinking seriously about, okay, is she the one for me? Am I thinking that she's the one? Do I need to make some room for her? How do I need to juggle some things? But it also could be that just before meeting you, depending on how far into y'all's relationship this is, it could be that he was already trying to take care of a number of things. And then when you came into his life, it told him, well, I can't take care of these things and put her in my life because these things are occupying my time. So he's trying to get them out of the way and possibly make room for you.
Not a relationship.
Not a relationship, but just make room so he can actually date you and court you and give you some time so you guys can figure out if you want to seriously, move into something serious.
Mm-hmm.
But when this stage here, he could possibly trying to make some room for you. Okay.
That's all under number one.
That's all under number one.
Okay.
Number two is he's trying to avoid conflict. Now, what I mean by that is, say you had a disagreement and he went silent. He's trying not to allow that disagreement to become an argument or the argument to escalate to where one of you say something that you're going to regret. So his way of not allowing that to happen or defending it is saying, I'm just going to get quiet. I'm going to allow some time, some space to go through so I can take a deep breath, regather my thoughts, and come back to this when I'm not so mad or I'm not so upset or we're not so at each other so we don't say the wrong thing. So he could be just trying to avoid y'all getting mad at each other, having a bigger fight than what he thinks is necessary for whatever that disagreement was.
I want to say an example of that is when we first started talking. I don't know, we had first started talking, and I saw that you had followed Trump on social media, that you were following him. And I'm talking about, like, I think he had just become president the first time because it was like during the pandemic. Or
now,
was it? No, it wasn't. He was still in office. No, when pandemic came, that was Biden. But I don't know, but he was very well either coming out of his presidency or in his presidency. And I thought that you were a follower because on your Facebook, it said that you followed him. And I was like, you know how it, pops up in a suggested person and it says who's following. And both Terrence's Facebook pages said that Terrence was following him. And we hadn't really talked about politics. And I was very offended. Very, very, very offended. And we had a disagreement. That was our very first disagreement. And I remember we were together when we were having that conversation, and you didn't necessarily go, you went silent in the vicinity we were in, like you just like, but yeah, so.
Yeah. And mind you, I wasn't following them, but for whatever reason, Facebook, how they put stuff together, said that I was.
And I think you were following because I think we were all at one point, like, we loved Celebrity Apprentice. I did.
I don't care about Trump. Never did.
Okay. So, but yeah, that was our first disagreement, and you did go silent. And thank God it wasn't one of those things where we had a disagreement when you were at home and I was at home, and you would have went silent. But and I probably would have felt it and probably would have had some concern. But we were actually you were at my house, and your demeanor kind of went a little silent. But yeah.
Yeah. So that was number two. Number three is he's feeling overwhelmed. And what I mean by that, there are some guys that, again, we have a thing about ourselves where we date up. We look at each other and say, yep. And other guys will look at guys and be like, man, how did he get her? he looks like he's a nerd, or, we just always prejudging the guy versus the woman that he's with when we see each other. But sometimes a guy will get with a woman that even in his own thought, he's thinking, how in the world did I get her? What is it about me? And he's overwhelmed. He's trying to figure this thing out. So he's going silent to try to say, Lord, am I out of my league here? What do I need to do? I mean, is she really liking me, or is she, what's going on? So he's overwhelmed because he just thinks that much of you that he's trying to figure out is he's actually out of his league, out of his depth. Okay. So that can be one of those possibilities as well.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is
number 4.
Number 4. And this right here is where you have to be careful, ladies. He's testing boundaries. And what I mean by that is he's heard you say some things about you won't do this, or you won't go beyond a certain thing, or you feel a certain way. And he's testing those boundaries.
Not like sex.
Not like sex, but he's just testing. Well, okay, let me see what happens when I put some distance between us and see if she gonna fly off the handle, or, he's testing to see what's gonna happen. So he has a better understanding about who you are. But it also can be setting the stage for the future, because that also can be a way for a guy to have control over you. If he sees that that's bothering you in a certain way, it might give him a leg up on some type of manipulation. So you have to be careful with that. Yeah. Definitely look into that as much as you can. Okay. Yeah. But that's one thing that he can be doing, is testing the boundaries to see what's actually happening.
And that's a good point, because it also, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but it also testing the boundaries if you can be a submissive wife, the type of wife he desires. And I know that could be a harsh word for a lot of y'all, but he just wants to know that testing the boundaries to see if he has room to lead.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, number 5 is, it's just his communication style. He was already a quiet guy. He's laid back, quiet before you met him, and he's still that way. So sometimes he may not speak as often as you think he should be speaking, but he's just a quiet guy. He's used to just being by himself. So, you got to be a little patient there. You just got to see if that's consistently who he is. And you'll know that probably in the beginning, because a guy that's really quiet is probably, when you first met him, you had to help create some of the topics that y'all spoke about when you first met, and when you first went out on a date or what have you. You probably had to help come up with some topics, because he's just a quiet guy and he's just looking around like, okay, what do I do next?
And if you are in a situation with him where you were the one who approached him, if you were the one who approached him first, it could be, his demeanor is just very laid back, very laid back. And you might think that, he's out, doing his thing, and he could just be home on a Friday night watching a movie by himself. That's just his personality. That's just his demeanor.
And I'm glad you said that, because I was just going to say too, with that, you have to know that there is a group of guys that don't or didn't date. They didn't feel like they was gifted in meeting women coming through high school and things like that. So they may be still trying to learn what the dating scene is all about. And they're probably a little nervous about making a mistake or saying something that they shouldn't say. And they don't know what that is. So they're kind of, well, you know what? I'd rather her tell me to say something than for me to talk too much and ruin my chances, because I'm just saying something that ain't appropriate. So you got to be, watch out for that as well.
Right.
Now, the next one, number, where are we at? 6. Number 6 is, he's just interested. Sometimes when a man is with a woman that he just met, y'all been seeing each other a couple times, you've been communicating, he may get to a point where he's thinking, you know what? I'm not sure if she's the one, or if we're going at the pace I want to go at. So he's having some doubt. So he's going to get a little quiet, because he's trying to figure out, how do I address this? Do I just bring it out? Do I call it off? Do I, give us a couple more opportunities to go out to see where it goes and how it plays out? So he could be losing some interest a little bit. And I have another one that I'm gonna share in just a minute that's a little bit related to this one, but you got to be careful on him. Okay,
and it's okay. Yeah.
Look, let me say this because she just triggered a thought right quick. Ladies, if he's losing interest, that's okay. Remember, every time you date somebody or each person you date is only one person. There are a whole slew of guys out there. So don't think, even if you really like this guy, this person, that if he don't have an interest in you or he's losing interest for some reason, that there's something wrong with you or that, there's something about you that, no, that just means he's probably not the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that is okay. That saves you a lot of time, saves you headache, heartache, and all this stuff. So don't let that get you to thinking that there's something wrong with you.
Right. Okay. And that automatically for a lot of people triggers rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to look at it like this. There can only be one for you, and there can only be one for him. And this is the most important decision of both of your lives. Yes. And so it could be everything could be perfect on paper and let me say this, it could be everything perfect on paper if they say if there's 20 things that you must have on the list that God said you must have on the list. Let's just say that you can find hundreds and thousands of men that meets all 20 of those things, but you can only have one.
Yeah.
He can only have one. And so whatever the reason why he's not interested,
if there's reservations, whatever
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Give each other grace to be able to make that decision and go through your processing method, whatever that is, to get to that answer, because you don't want to miss on this one. Because we're talking about forever. Exactly. Now, we said this is a good man. So number 7 is he can have some spiritual reasons. God is working with him on something. It could be his identity. It could be something that he hadn't completed yet just before he met you, and he's finishing that up. It could be, some people like to fast. So depending on what stage they are in fasting, he may be, that quiet time might be him doing what he feel he needs to do to make sure he's at one with himself. So he may not have been with God. So, don't, like I said, don't jump to conclusions. Just know that it could be he's doing some spiritual stuff with God and he's allowing the Holy Spirit to work on him at the moment.
And if y'all hang out on TikTok, let me tell y'all something. It's some good godly men over there. You could tell by the fruit. You could tell by their character. You could tell by the way they speak. You could tell by the way they post. It's some good, a ton of good men, good men, good, godly, wholesome men. And these are men that appear to be very, very serious about their relationship with the Lord. And so if a man goes silent, he could feel like he could feel like he's getting to know you, which goes back to disinterest. The relationship that he's having with you is pulling him away from God. And so he needs to get himself back to God and seeking God about you and about the relationship, and also realigning himself back to where God wants him. But for spiritual reasons, a lot of men men who are godly men, they are very serious about their relationship with the Lord. They don't play with it, and they could be in their word, and it could be, again, that they just need to have a timeout from everything and everybody, including you, unfortunately, and they just need to get back into an alignment with the Lord.
And the last one that I'm going to share with you, okay, number 8 is he's considering other options. Now, this is very close, but very different from the disinterest. This one here, considering his other options, that means, again, he's trying to make the decision for who he's going to spend the rest of his life with. And maybe there are 3 or 4 women that he's met, and you're one of those 3 or 4.
You don't like to hear this, ladies.
You don't like to hear, but I'm being honest. He's saying, you know what? I feel this way with her. I feel that way. I feel this way. And he's just trying to go through his options to make sure that he makes the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you have to just understand you may be doing the same thing. You may say, well, I've met 3 guys and each one of them have their strengths and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're very, very close when it comes to, I don't see any negativity about any of them. And now you're just trying to make the right decision and know that you're with the right one, or you're going to be with the right one. And that's what he's doing. He's considering his options. And the times he's gone silent, it may be times that he's spending with one of those other people.
Yeah. And again, this is not, y'all not in a relationship. And I think the thing is that when we meet someone, when women meet someone and things are going well and they having good conversation and they talking quote unquote consistently for a couple of weeks, they automatically think that they're exclusive. And that is not the case. As we've said in that Terrence said many times, he did not know I was the one until almost a year after we were talking. And so, but you didn't date.
No.
Yeah. And so, but if he did, we didn't have any, first of all, we didn't have any expectations. But we were not in a relationship. And so, but and that's why I say, until you're in a relationship, until it is, either implied, not assumed, but implied, and or said, then, you two are free to do not stop your life.
Right.
Do not stop your life, because, you've met someone, and you cannot expect him to all of a sudden, like if he, and a lot of people don't realize this, but yeah, there are a lot of men and women who just like to be at home on Friday nights and chilling.
One of them.
He's one of them. Just like to be home chilling with the movie. And you might be thinking, wow, well, doesn't he want to speak to me? I mean, he's not doing anything. He is doing something. He's doing what makes him feel good. What he loves to do. It could be reading a book. It could be doing nothing. It could be napping. It could be whatever it is. He has the right to do it. He has the right, and you do too.
Right.
He's looking at your boundaries. Look at yours too. All these things that he's doing, you need to be doing it too. I think for so many women, we stop our lives. We wrap our lives around potential, a prospect. And we've got to stop doing that. Ladies, y'all got to stop doing that. Your life goes on. Your life, until it is again implied or said that y'all in a relationship, you have to continue to live your life and continue to, be positioned and open for the one. And so the other point I want to make is that also on the flip side of this, when men go silent, and especially because you can get all the way to, because Terrence did many times he went silent. There were times I hadn't heard from him in a week or two, but I had to consider some things. First of all, I knew his character. I gotten to know his character. And then I also had to take in consideration his work schedule. So he told me in the beginning that he does rotational work. At that time, like, what were you off 4 days? And
yeah, I was on days and nights, but I was also rotating weekends and weekdays.
Yeah.
And so once we got in the relationship, I came off that schedule.
Yes, he made some decisions and got promotions and all that great stuff. But I had to consider. And so when the days he were off, I couldn't just automatically expect him to, talk to me all day on the phone. He was tired. He had things to do. He had some other priorities he was dealing with. And so, I think what happens, and I'm going to say, I think what happens, ladies, is that when he goes silent, what is happening to you spiritually is that is what's growing fruit. Patience.
Wow.
Kindness. Awesome. How will you respond when he does call if you haven't heard from him in 2 weeks? How will you pick up that phone? Will you pick up the phone? Will you have an attitude? Gentleness, peace. Are you going to continue to keep your peace when you don't hear from him? We're definitely not chasing, ladies. You're definitely, if you don't hear from him, I remember when, like if Terrence didn't call for, let's say a couple of days, or let me say like a week and a half, when Terrence, he would, all of a sudden I'll get a text from him, and I don't know, he'll say like, he'll send me a song, maybe. He'll send me a song to let me know that was, like he was thinking about me, and it would send me a song, and that would make me know that he doesn't feel like talking, but he just want me to know that he's thinking about me. And so, but if it had been like a distance of days, I would respond and I would say, "You good?" Just to make sure that if there's anything he's going through, he knew that I was here for him and that I was here if he wanted to talk. But I respected his boundaries. I respected his space. I respected if he did not want to pick up the phone and call after I hadn't heard from him in a week and a half, it was okay. And so a lot of times the Lord is developing fruit in us when these times come, because again, he's knitting you all together. And so yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because I never thought about that before until you just said it. That's also important, because ladies, I know you're wondering right now, well, what are we supposed to do? How do you handle this?
Live.
I got 2 suggestions. Okay. 1, she just said, live. Stop putting your life on hold. Okay. Thinking that it's going to be a certain way. Stop with the narrative thing.
Yes.
Okay. Stop telling yourself the story in your head of how it's supposed to be, and that's the only way it can work, or it's not going to work at all. But here's something I want you to also think about. When you do get a chance to speak to him, the very first time after the silence, think about this. Don't come at him from a position of assumption.
Ooh.
How about coming at him in a position of curiosity? And what I mean by that is saying something that's a little softer, like saying, look, I noticed that, you just been getting quiet, or you've been quiet the last couple of days. Is there anything wrong? Is there anything I need to know about? Give him a chance to open up and share. But if you attack him first and put him on the defense,
where you been? I ain't heard
even
from
if
you.
It was for a very justifiable reason, or for a very noble reason. Because remember, we said this is a good guy. This ain't somebody that's trying to waste your time. This is somebody that you would probably want to spend your time with if it's working out and it's moving in the right direction. So without the assumption, don't give him a reason to be defensive the very first few minutes. When you guys get back together, you start speaking again. Allow him a chance to share something about himself that will explain why the silence was there. And the one way to do that is to just say, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? I noticed that you've been getting silent lately, or you've been getting a little distant. Is there anything I need to know? Anything I can help you with? Anything that you're going through? Give them a chance to share some type of story to connect why that is. That might help, rather than, because I have what is one of my triggers if I'm accused of something. So if I'm accused, I'm going from 0 to 60 before I can switch gears. I'm already at 60, and now I'm upset because I don't know why I'm being accused of something. Whether I was guilty or innocent, it's like, wait a minute, hold up, time out. You know what? And so then that just blows everything out of proportion. Now ain't neither one of us listen to the other. But if you can come into it from a very caring, curiosity, that will at least give us an opportunity to say, yeah, this is happening, and on this time, I go through this, or, it gives them a chance to explain it in a way that you may have a better understanding, but it's at a calming way to where y'all not at each other. And it may help out a little bit.
Yeah, your response and your reaction to the silence is going to determine everything. Is going to determine everything. And so you gotta, and I wouldn't question so much, just, are you okay? And if he says, yeah, I'm good, don't press it. Don't press the issue. When he goes silent, don't be chasing and calling and texting and all that. If he's silent, he's okay. And you got to trust that he knows 911, and he also knows the Lord. So
and you, Lord, you just keep triggering thought. We did a video several weeks back, and one of the things I can share, that it could be something that he had to come to terms with being comfortable speaking about yet. And there may be only one person outside of God that he would ever reveal that to. And that's going to be his God-ordained mate.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, you're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're going to have some understanding. That's where you're going to have some patience. That's
empathy.
where you're going to have some empathy. That's where you're going to have some grace. You're going to have to, because you're not the person that he sees yet, that he can tell you about something he experienced.
He don't
that
trust
he
you
hadn't dealt with yet, or he hadn't been delivered from yet, but he still don't feel comfortable sharing it with you yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to be patient with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're building
Mm-hmm.
trust, you're building a rapport, you're building a relationship.
Yeah. And the reason why that's important to understand is because men will trust you once with that information. And if he ever shares it and you take advantage of it, or you abuse it, or you make him feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if you are his God-ordained mate, he will never, ever open up that personally again about anything.
I cannot let this video end without mentioning something. So a couple of months ago, we did an interview with one of my colleagues, Olivia Johnson, and she gave me permission to say this, to tell you all this. So a lot of you have been asking for an update. And the reason why we did this video, the silence, why men go silent, is because this is what she was experiencing with the guy that we interviewed her about. And so she gave me permission to share an update and to let you know how things are going. So there were bouts of silence with her and the guy. You got to go back and watch the video. It was a live. So if you go under our playlist and go to the replays, you'll see it. Olivia Johnson, her picture's on there. And so since we did that video, the guy has been going silent. He's been going silent. And so the whole month of January, she went on a fast. And she did not reach out to him. He did not reach out to her for whatever reason why he went silent. She went silent because for spiritual reasons, she wasn't, And so at the end of that fast, he reached out to her and he said, I just want to know is, like, you haven't called me, you haven't done this. And she told him, well, I've been, my time has been with the Lord. And so what that did was, it made him see her on a different level. And so she's been prioritizing her relationship, like, wholeheartedly. Like, whatever is going to be with, and it's kind of what I did as well. Whatever is going to be with the guy is going to be, but right now I'm focused on what I'm supposed to be focused on. And so there, like a week would go by and she wouldn't hear from him. Of course, she was not contacting him. And so he wasn't texting or calling. And just recently, last week, he called her. He called her about 7:00 after work. He called her. He knows she loves pink. And he called her. He said, I just want to know that I wholeheartedly appreciate you. I wholeheartedly, I don't know what I would have done if you were not by my side. And she was baffled. Like, he said, he said, look, he said, you've been on my mind so much that I even wore a pink tie today. Wow. And so she doesn't need to question, well, where you been? Or why haven't I heard from you? She's letting God do it. And so it's building trust. And so we were talking about this, when guys go silent. And that's what sparked this. And I said, she was like, ask Uncle T, ask Uncle T. So Uncle T is explaining to you all as well. Like, when they go silent, it does not mean that they have kicked you to the curb. It does not always mean that. A lot of times it means that they're watching you from afar. They're, looking at boundaries.
And I left something. It could have fell on any one of these, but the one thing I did not explain is sometimes when you see a guy too much, he needs the distance to miss you.
Yes.
And when he misses you, when you see him the time right after, he's going to be more affectionate. He's going to be more attentive. He's going to communicate more. So sometimes you have to allow the guy to build up a period of where he's saying, I miss her. I need to reach out. I need to go see her. I need to reach out to her. But if you are seeing him on a consistent basis, you are communicating on an everyday basis, he might be getting to a point where he's thinking, we're running out of stuff to talk about. I need to miss her. So I don't be around her and kind of ignore her.
Yeah, let me see how I feel when we're apart.
Let's get apart and create some distance, so when we see each other, we appreciate each other a little more. So that could be also the case.
Yes,
because I love when I saw her, because we lived long distance and we didn't see each other every day. So when we did get to see each other, it was like, man, that's awesome, because I know I didn't see her for the last 4 or 5 days, or the 3 or 4 days, or whatever that period was, and it made the time that we were together that much more important.
Yeah. And so they are, Olivia and they're going on a date today. They plan a date today. And so, yeah, they're going with the flow. It is building, and whatever it's going to be is going to be. She believes that he's the one. And she said it from go watch the video. And they're building, and and he said he invited her, actually, which is even phenomenal. He's from a hometown that's 2 hours away. He invited her to come down there.
That's
today. Up. So she's driving down there to spend some time, and he said his brother. So those are baby steps, but she's asked the Lord to develop patience in her. And so so she's going to spend the day with him. He lives here, but he's going to be down in his hometown, and he invited her to go with him. And so she's going to go. And so, yeah, it just does not mean because he's silent that he's not it, but it could mean that he's not it.
Yeah, there's so many reasons that I could have even come up with that I didn't, because you just don't know. Every person is different.
Right.
Every situation is different.
It's so many variables.
But at the same token, what we want to share with you is, if you understand, God says you're important. Every hair of your head is numbered, and he has somebody just for you. So it's a process. Regardless if you see somebody and they blow you away that very first time, or if it's somebody that you had to warm up to, it's still a process.
It's a process. It's a love story unfolding. Let it happen. These are setting stakes in the ground. Like, this is like putting some solid foundations in the ground. You don't want to just, things can, just happen. I don't want to say suddenly. Some things are God-ordained suddenly, but some things can move so fast that you miss the important parts. So, so take your time. God is developing patience.
And here's something. This is a warning. Don't be sharing this with your family and friends.
Oh yeah, they don't understand.
They're not going to understand. They're like, girl, they're going to tell you the worst negative things that can happen. And that they may be so far off base. So be very hesitant on trying to share this with your besties and think they got your back.
Because they don't look at it from your spiritual point of view like you're looking at it.
Yes.
So yeah,
be careful.
Yeah, just be patient. Watch your response.
Pray
hard, fast, so yep. So
with that said, I hope this gave you a little bit of food to say, okay, we got a way to something to think about. We got something, Yeah, it's not the be all end all.
Right, something to consider. Yep. All right, so we'll see you on the next video.
On the next one.
Deuces.